there are a lot of things Jesus said I just don't get. I got to be honest with you. I don't get it. I spent last year writing down every single thing Jesus said, and I published a book called Jesus Said Stuff. And a lot of it I don't get. I don't understand. For instance, there's this story in Mark 2, Matthew 9, and Luke 5. It's not in John. Most of what happens in Mark, Matthew, and Luke is not in John, but we'll get to John eventually. But um, the question is raised why Jesus and his disciples don't fast like John's disciples did, and like the Pharisees do, and all that, because it's a big religious thing. And Jesus says, "How can the guests of the bridegroom fast while he is with them? They cannot, so long as they have him with them. But the time will come when the bridegroom will be taken from them, and on that day they will fast." So I've been married once, and we had a bachelor party there and everything, and all the guys were with me, and I made a big pot of gumbo, and on an occasion like that, you were not going to fast, and of course Jesus at that time um, was there, and yeah. I don't know why he didn't fast, I mean, he's going to be there for a while. He had a good 3-year ministry time. He could have taken some of that time to fast. I don't know. But for me, it's like, get it while the getting's good, I guess. So I'm I don't like fasting. I've done it on a few different occasions, and I really hear it. It's a miserable thing to do, to be hungry and you can see food, or there's food there and you can't eat it because you got to purify yourself or detoxify yourself. And I know it's good for you and all that, but not something I enjoy doing, not something many people enjoy doing, which is why when Jesus was with them, they were celebrating as much as they could, you know? Now, they could have fasted because they didn't have any food sometimes, but that's neither here nor there. Now, uh, going on to that, Matthew then goes on. Um, oh, I'm sorry. And they talk about, he says, no one sews a patch of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch will pull away from the garment, making the tear worse. Now, it's a rarity for people to patch clothes these days, so I don't fully identify with this, but I have darned socks. I have used patches. I have my motorcycle jacket is covered with patches. Every time there's a tear in it, I put on a new patch. And the jacket is well over 40 years old, and it's still holding together. So, this doesn't make any sense to me because I used new patches on an old jacket, and the tears um, held firm. So, I don't know about this. And then he's like, neither do people pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skins will burst, and the wine will run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. So they pour new wine into new wineskins, and both are preserved. Now, again, this is a huge cultural difference that we have here. Every time I've had wine, and it's been a lot, I've always had it in glass. It's been in a glass bottle. You know, we don't use wine skins these days. I'm not even sure the last time people did use wine skins. And I've never fully gotten this. I kind of pretend to get it in here a little bit, but even then, I totally mess it up. I'll be honest about that. I don't fully get this. Other than you need to be renewed. Um, and I thought for a while that he was bringing some new wine to the old wineskin of religion, is what I kind of thought about it. But I don't know. If you have an answer to what you think this is all about, this whole new wine into new wineskins thing, please leave it in the comments below because I don't fully get it. I've heard some interpretations of it, and I'd be interested to find out what you think about it. But that's what that is. Now, he then goes on to say, and no one, this is in Luke, he says this, he says, and no one after drinking old wine wants the new, for they say the old is better. Now, that has stood the test of time. Generally, people much prefer older wine that's been preserved well, because if not, it becomes like vinegar and is very, very bad. But yeah, people prefer the old wine. Why Jesus said that here, how that relates, what the parable is there, um, maybe it's that they prefer the old religion they're talking about, which is why he still held firm to the laws and the prophets and Judaica and all of that. I don't know. These days, you get people who, even though new spiritual insights have been developed over the last 2,000 years, and the message of Jesus Christ, as it was actually in the red letters, has actually reverberated throughout the globe and touched on a number of other spiritual traditions, there are those who still want to go back to the old rugged cross. They still want to go back to what they consider to be that old religion, because that's got tradition, it's got legs, it's been here for a very, very long time. And a lot of people will prefer that. And, I recognize that because I've seen, what got me started doing this was seeing all the videos people are putting about Christian deconstruction and how they're realizing that a lot of the tenets of Roman American Christianity just are not true. They're just not. However, they are religious. They are, for many people, sacrosanct, and they don't want to change those at all. They can't question them. They can't doubt them. They can't reconsider them or whatever. Their religion, the tradition they were brought up in, or the tradition they moved into, is very appealing to them. And they want every little bit of it that has lasted for the last 1,500 years or so since the Bible was finally canonized, even though it was recanonized a few centuries later by the Protestants. But either way, there are a lot of folks who are totally into that. And there are a lot of folks who have learned these Christian methodologies and different things to say and believe in and all of that. And they're not going to budge from it. And I know there's a lot of people in the whole deconstruction movement who would love to see the end of Christianity altogether. However, for a lot of people, that tradition is what gives them their stability. And without their faith, with their belief system, they crumble. They don't know why they're here. They don't know what they're doing. But if they have this religion, then it gives them some sense of stability and security and even a sense of purpose for those who actually want to follow Christ. And for those who don't and just want to follow Roman American Christianity, well, they have a purpose as well. And that's to evangelize to people and, point out how sinful they are by, not following the religion they chose to follow and all of those things. And I don't really think we're at a point where we need to convince people to leave Christianity at all. People are figuring that out all for themselves. What I would like to see is more Christians actually following Christ. Big thing I hear across Christianity of the most devout believers is they're always pointing out how fallible they still are and how imperfect they still are. And I get it. Most of us are, but there's a certain amount of apathy that goes with that. And of saying, well, I'm imperfect and that's just the way that it is. When we'll get to it later, Jesus said, no, you be perfect as God is perfect. Go ahead, you can do it. And that's what he calls people to. And that's what I want to see in more Christianity, because Roman American Christianity especially, is so consumed with hell. It's so much about hell, where so much of what Jesus said wasn't about that. It was about how do you live here in this life in love? How do you live in this world today, right now, in this eternal moment, and exude love for your fellow man? That's what Jesus was teaching time and time again. And I would love to see that in Christianity because I've seen it. I've seen it in Christianity. I have. Yes, yes, yes. I'm going to say yes to that. I have seen Christians who are just incredibly loving. And they take this message that they've gotten, this tradition that they've gotten, and this story that they've been told, and they transmute that into behaviors toward their fellow man, where if they were saved from a life of true sin, which had them all discombobulated and living a terrible life, and now they are renewed and they wake each morning with this new reverence for life and a new relationship with God flowing through them, those people are very prone to be incredibly loving. Now, they're still going to believe you deserve to go to hell because that's what the religion says you have to believe, but they're going to do it in a loving way. And I just don't think there's really a possibility for us to change anybody who was brought into that tradition or who's um, um, found true meaning and purpose and love and community and all the things that that religion offers, we're not going to change their way. And we shouldn't even try to. But we should open up to love. And if we can encourage more Christians to live in that, I think we're going to be good. I think that's going to help a lot. And that's what I hope that we do. And I challenge you, if you are a Christian, I hope you read this book. Jesus Said Stuff. It's about all the things that Jesus said. And compare that and contrast that to what your church may actually teach, because there's a good chance they might be a little bit different there. So, um, um, that's it. I don't understand the whole wine skin thing or the patches. I don't. I'll be honest about that. But I do understand what it means to love. I understand what it means to feel secure and comfortable and stable in a religious tradition and find a home church where you can create relationships with people. And it's a beautiful and wonderful thing. And I wish you all the best in it. And I hope you feel the love of your Creator today. And I hope you recognize in the world around you, look all around, all the wonderful and beautiful things that you are blessed with. And I pray that you be the blessing that someone needs you to be today. See ya. Have a good day.